everyone, so here in this video we want to talk about how to set up your lab notebook. So your lab notebook is used for introduction, pre-lab questions, the purpose, safety, procedures, any data results, conclusion, and analysis questions. Now these will all be subheadings in your lab notebook, so make sure that they're kind of obvious. So like if I'm looking at your notebook or if someone else is looking at your notebook, we should be able to see exactly where the purpose is. Your lab notebook is also kind of like your rough draft, so don't worry if you have to cross something off or if it's not written perfectly, all right? So I want to make sure that you realize that your lab notebook is for someone to be able to look at, see what your information was or what your data results were, and kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I'm going to be grading your lab notebook, but I will be giving you certain criteria. So, if you cross off something or if it looks a little messy, it's okay. As long as I can read it, it's fine. So your lab notebooks are composition notebooks. I prefer college ruled. Wide ruled is fine as well. So you want to make sure that you label it. So the first thing is make sure you put your name in there and then put my name in there. Put Mrs. Patel Dame. That way it's nice and easy to have in there. Now if you have ones that have like a vinyl cover to it, you can either use Sharpie for this and just make sure you let it dry, or just put like a piece of masking tape on the vinyl and then write on the masking tape as well. So on the inside front cover, we have several things that we're going to write in here. The one is the nurse's extension. I don't really know what it is offhand, and sometimes it changes. So for right now, write nurse and then EXT, and then a blank. We'll fill that in. Remind me when you get into class to fill that in. The reason for that is just because, like, hey, if there's an emergency and I can't get to the phone, I want you to be able to know what the nurse's extension is so you can call them down and have them come take care of the situation. Usually I'll be with the student making sure that they're okay to go. So I might ask one of you guys to call down the nurse. Also make sure that you have the main office extension in there as well. And your goggle numbers. So you want to make sure you use the same goggles each and every single time. So this should be on the left-hand side, the front cover essentially, so that we can easily access it. Now somewhere on the bottom, if you have any medical emergencies or alerts that anyone should be aware of, by all means, if you feel comfortable with it, go ahead and put it down here on the bottom. So for example, if you're allergic to tree nuts, make sure you put that in there. Also, if you have any like EpiPens, write down where it's located. If it's a specific spot in your bag, write that down as well. So just in case there's an emergency, we can look at it and know exactly how to help you out. This is also the case if you have diabetes, even if you have contacts too. Like if you wear contacts, make sure you write that in there, because in case you get something in your eye, for example, we have to bring you over to the eye wash station. We want to make sure you remove your contacts before you, submerge your eye with some water. All right, so that's the front cover. The right-hand side, go ahead and label that as table of contents. Make that nice and big and bold. And then you'll see two vertical lines. They're both red, so like the bold red and the on the left-hand side, and the kind of fainter red on the right-hand side. So in that first little section, that's kind of acting as a column for you. Go ahead and write down the word date. In the middle, go ahead and write title, and all the way on the right-hand side, write pages. So that's exactly where you're going to write all the information. So write down the date, the title, and the pages. When I ask you to keep your table of contents up to date, you're going to fill that in. So open up to the next page. The left-hand side I want you to keep blank. That's going to be for the back of the table of contents, because you might go over to the next page as well. On the right-hand side, that's where we're going to start our first entry. So it'll probably end up being lab safety. Make sure you put that title in there. Write down whatever the date is, like right now, today's date. The bottom right-hand corner, I put down a 1. That's your page number. So the bottom outside corners are your page numbers, so I put a 1 there because that's how you're starting. And on the top outside corner, that's your lab number. So for this case, it's going to be lab number 1, or entry number 1. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and take that safety data sheet, the safety sheet, excuse me, and cut that in half, put one half in here, make sure you tape the top and the bottom, and get your initials on both sides. So pretty much your initials and the date should be both on the paper that you're adding plus the actual composition notebook. So that way, in case like something falls out of your composition notebook, you can still at least see half of your initials and the date, so we know that there was something in there to begin with. Right? So that's the first side. The back of the next side, that goes the other part of your student safety contract. Now make sure that that right-hand side has been signed by your parents or guardians, and also make sure you fill in any information about contact lenses and allergies and all that sort of stuff. So you're going to tape the top and the, actually, just kidding. We'll get to that in just a second. Now, the left-hand corner of this, outside corner, I'm going to put page number 2. This is on the back of page number 1. On the next page, outside corner, I'm going to write page number 3. So that way, every single page has a number, and it's on the outside corner. So if you're flipping the bottom part of your lab notebook, you can see exactly what all the pages are. All right. Also, continue to put the lab number on the back of this page. If this lab or any of your labs went on for like 5 pages, for example, you're going to write lab number, whatever, on each of the 5 pages, front and back. And don't forget, this is on the outside corner, so you can easily flip it and see it. You tape the top and bottom. Don't forget to make sure your initials and your date are on there as well. All right, and then, so that's page 2. Page 3 would start your new entry. So that would probably be like lab equipment and whatever we did with that, or physical and chemical changes, whatever that next lab would end up being. So essentially, halfway through your notebook, you will make sure that you have your even and odd numbers paged. So the even number should be on the left-hand side, and the odd number should be on the right-hand side. So again, you continue into number front and back for each one of these. Let's see. Hold on one second. I don't know whether. Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Oops, there we go. All right. So say, for example, on the right-hand side, you started a new lab entry. Make sure you put the title in there, whatever the date is, and on the upper outside corner, put the lab number. Same thing on the previous page, the lab number there. Now, say, for example, your lab took 3 sides, so the front and back of one, and then the front of another. Now, on the left-hand side is the back of that third side, essentially. I don't know if I can describe that. If you don't want to write anything in there, go ahead and draw a line and write your initials and your date in there. So that way we know that that's not left, we know that that has been not used intentionally. Okay, so just one big line and your initials and the date. And then if you want to start your new lab on the right-hand side, you can do that. I personally prefer that just because it looks a little bit neater and more organized. Now, I do grade your lab notebook. I'm looking for introduction, purpose, procedure, all that sort of stuff. But I'm also making sure that you didn't mess it up. Now, some people come to me and are like, oh, PD, I totally messed up my lab notebook. I'm going to redo all of it. No, that's not okay. These are the only ways you mess up your lab notebook. If you tear out a page or tear out even a little piece of a page, that's messing it up. Now, if it rips on its own, I understand. That happens. It's okay. Also, if you spill something on it, that's fine. I don't care. That happens. You're in lab. If you write in pencil, that is messing up your lab notebook. Even if you want to go over it in pen, that is illegal. It's not allowed. You're going to get points off. So do not go over it in pen. The other thing is that if you make a mistake and you scribble it out, that is you're going to be penalized for that. Now, if you make a mistake and draw one line through it, that's okay. So you're going to draw one line through it, and then next to it, go ahead and write down your initials, and then whatever that date is. All right, so it gets a little messy for my with my stylus, but you get the idea. So that's how you cross out mistakes. You don't scribble. So I don't want to see, like, let's see if I can do this, any of that. That is not allowed. But one line through is okay. Also, do not use whiteout in here. I forgot to write that down, but make sure you do not use whiteout in your lab notebook. And another thing, oopsies. Let's see, hold on one second. Oh, hold on. All right, and copying data or information over. That is also not allowed. That's how you will get points off. And I know when you're copying data. There are some people who are like, oh, PD, I don't want to write my data table in yet because I don't know if it's right. I don't care. Put your data table in there. I want to see it. If you need to rewrite it, or if you need to fix it, that's fine. But I want to see what your rough draft is, essentially. So do not write your data on a separate sheet of paper and think that you're going to copy it over. That's definitely not okay. All right? Make sure that you do bring your lab notebook in every day because you never know when we're going to have time to just do a quick little lab, or I might ask you to do something in there. All right, darlings, you will learn to love and appreciate your lab notebook. So take very good care of it. Have a good day. Bye.